That's a good question. I think I like the breadth of activities that the Hippopotamus puts on, things like this versus the hackathons or gravity sessions. I went to an unconference last weekend on Georgia Tech campus where you actually come for the event without knowing what the agenda is, and the people at the event make the agenda as you're there, sort of a crowdsourced conference, which I thought was a pretty cool idea. I can say from our perspective as a big company, one of the things we struggle with in small companies is the sort of legal relationship. We're normally used to dealing with big companies, talking to big companies, and so all the paperwork and legalese around the relationship is heavy based on that need. And so we're still trying to figure out the legal framework, the kind of paperwork that you need from a big company like Panasonic to deal with a startup when you're just trying to evaluate an idea. So that's something I think if we can standardize on that idea in this Atlanta area as a framework, I think that would help us all.
So, big companies and large companies, how do we better interact as a community? I think one thing that the Valley, Silicon Valley, has been excellent about doing is kind of the merging of kind of the giants and tomorrow's companies, right? And they realize because each of their giants started off as a startup not long ago. And so there's a lot of interaction, and you're able to learn quickly from what problems do the large companies have, and how can we learn from that, and how can we start developing solutions that they'll need a few years from now. And so seeing large companies here on stage is a good step in the right direction. But also as startups, we have to not be shy about calling on the large companies, right? And we have to remember, like, just getting in there and getting feedback about what problems they're having is useful. Like, we don't have to knock on their door and try to sell them something every day, right? But just getting in there and hearing what's worrying them right now. What are the problems that are on their list that they don't know how to solve right now? And those are the things that really drive your ability to predict problems that will be big in the future. And there's a lot of that happens. If you look at VC firms, they often will put an entrepreneur in residence in place. And the entrepreneur in residence spends a lot of their time just going meet with CIOs and meeting with CTOs and really just hearing what problems are there. And so as a startup, those are the types of things that we need to be doing when we're interacting with large companies, is really listening and figuring out what are the problems instead of always trying to sell something day one.
Yes, I'm going to quickly steal the obvious answer here, and say, like, community. I mean, we have to have, the Atlanta is getting that sense of, like, a technology community, a startup community. Hype does a lot towards that. Strong box, working at co-working spaces, you're starting to see it happening. And I think as enterprises, we have to get out more. We have to, like, get out from behind our desk, get out from behind the chain link fences and the badges and stuff, and come work with folks like you guys and come get involved in the startup community. And at the same time, I think what the startup community needs to do is embrace the enterprise when they come knocking, because it's easy to prejudge the enterprise guys as they're just doing some SharePoint thing, right? But we need to communicate and talk and share ideas. And when I go downstairs to Hype, I'm always talking to people about what they're doing and how they're doing it and what the technology they're using. So it's just having community and having a place for us to get together and talk.
Yeah, I mean, it is just creating more and more opportunities for all of us to come together. I think we all have roles to play. I think we've all said the same thing. What we desperately need from people like yourselves in this room is a change of mindset, a change of skill set, a different way of approaching problems that we have in spades. So I think it is that dialogue with small companies at early stage where we can maybe help them shape how they are thinking about going to market with what their value proposition is, or a later stage company where they're actually ready with a viable product and need a big anchor client to really make their name and to actually start helping them pay some bills. So there's opportunity at all stages of a company, and it is just creating a network and a community and opportunities to bring to the table what we all have to offer. And I think Hippopotamus is doing a great job at that.